Imagine buying land cheaper than Manhattan apartments. March 1867. Secretary William Seward purchased Alaska from Russia for $7 million. Newspapers exploded with fury. Cartoonists drew icebergs floating down Pennsylvania Avenue. America called him insane. History would prove otherwise. Seward's Icebox, Wall Russia, Polar Bear Garden. The insults rained down mercilessly. Congress threatened to block payment. Citizens demanded his resignation. During Reconstruction's chaos, buying frozen wilderness seemed criminal. Yet one man saw what millions couldn't. The future demanded this gamble desperately. I stood before my office maps, finger tracing Alaska's jagged coastline. My colleagues whispered behind closed doors the secretary's lost his mind. Wife begged me to reconsider. Political career hanging by threads, but those harbors, those resources, that Pacific dominance worth any price. Tsar Alexander II faced catastrophe. Crimean War debts crushed Russia's treasury. Worse yet, British warships prowled Pacific waters hungrily. Lose Alaska in battle or sell strategically? The choice tortured him nightly. Pride demanded keeping territories. Pragmatism whispered, sell before Britain takes everything anyway. Baron Edouard de Stoeckl arrived Washington with secret orders. Negotiate fast, accept reasonable terms, finish before opposition organizes. He understood American politics intimately. Speed mattered more than maximizing price. History's window opens briefly. Smart negotiators recognize fleeting opportunities immediately. You must understand I worked through endless nights drafting treaty language. Coffee grew cold beside inkwells. Candles burned to stubs. My scarred face ached from Lincoln's assassination attempt years prior. Physical pain, political suicide, family's anguish, none mattered. Alaska mattered. Future Americans would vindicate me. Past midnight, March 30th, 1867. Pens scratched parchment in candlelight. Stoeckl smiled. Russia gained $7,200,000. I smiled. Wider, America secured 591,000 square miles. Each diplomat believed they won. Both were right. Both were wrong. Representative Cadwallader Washburn thundered from House floor. A barren, worthless, God-forsaken region. Galleries erupted in applause. Newspapers published savage cartoons showing me hauling icebergs southward. Editorial pages demanded impeachment. The House delayed payment authorization 13 months. Legislative obstruction nearly killed everything. Death threats arrived daily. Accusation of taking Russian bribes spread like wildfire. Town halls became rage-filled protests. Ministers condemned governmental waste from Sunday pulpits. My family feared assassination constantly. Political courage means enduring hatred's full storm alone. Vindication comes later, if ever. Charles Sumner rose in Senate chamber, documents stacked waist-high. 4 hours he spoke fisheries data, mineral surveys, forest assessments, strategic analyses. His voice filled chambers with possibilities others couldn't imagine. Prestige swayed wavering senators. Sometimes one eloquent voice changes national destiny through sheer persuasive force. Stoeckl's secret ledger recorded $30,000 distributed strategically. Congressmen, journalists, influential businessmen. Bribery greased political machinery efficiently. Did Seward know? Historians debate endlessly. Great achievements rarely emerge from pure methods. History judges outcomes more harshly than questionable means employed achieving them. Sitka, October 18, 1867. Russian soldiers lowered their double-headed eagle flag slowly, reluctantly. American troops raised stars and stripes. The halyard jammed awkwardly. Both sides stood silent, comprehending something irreversible just occurred. Empires shift through such mundane, clumsy moments. Princess Maria Maksutova wept openly. Her children were born here beneath these mountains. Orthodox cathedral bells tolled mournfully across harbor. Russian-American company employees faced uncertain futures anxiously. For bureaucrats in distant capitals, this meant geopolitical strategy. For us, this meant losing homeland. Treaties disregard individual heartbreak. Watch the Tlingit, Aleut, Athabaskan, Yupik faces during transfer ceremonies. Foreigners exchanged their ancestral lands without asking permission. Neither Russia nor America considered indigenous sovereignty legitimate. They became American subjects overnight, voiceless. Imperial powers never acknowledged native rights when claiming territories aggressively. American settlers trickled northward, slowly, initially. Harsh winters, brutal isolation, limited transportation deterred most pioneers. Sitka's population barely exceeded few hundred souls. Alaska confirmed critics' warnings, worthless frozen acquisition draining resources. My reputation remained damaged. Vindication required patience and unforeseen discoveries later. 1880 brought shocking telegrams. Gold discovered near Juneau. Prospectors flooded northward, seeking fortunes frantically. Mining camps sprouted across mountains and rivers overnight. Alaska's economy transformed from subsistence fishing to booming extraction industry instantly. Suddenly, my purchase seemed prescient. Wealth hid beneath ridiculed landscapes. Klondike Gold Rush, 1898. 100,000 prospectors stampeded through Alaskan ports toward Yukon goldfields. Skagway became lawless boomtown shootings daily. Fortunes won and lost hourly. Nome exploded from nothing into chaos. Alaska's value became undeniable. Critics fell embarrassingly silent. History vindicated vision. I never witnessed Alaska's golden validation. Death came 1872, still mocked as the fool who bought icebergs. My final words reportedly mentioned Alaska, hoping future generations would understand. Death denied me vindication's sweet satisfaction. Legacy requires patience beyond mortal lifespans. Gold proved merely beginning. Copper discoveries dwarfed previous wealth exponentially. Kennecott mines produced hundreds of millions worth of ore. Investors who ridiculed Seward now scrambled for Alaskan claims desperately. Economic transformation validated strategic foresight completely. Resources determine power. Geography determines destiny, ultimately. By 1900, salmon canneries lined every coastal inlet. Pacific fishing fleets harvested unimaginable wealth from Alaskan waters. Japanese, Russian, American vessels competed fiercely. Fishing industry alone repaid purchase price multiple times over. Seward understood ocean resources' importance before others grasped maritime economics. June 1942, Japanese forces invaded Aleutian Islands. American troops fought desperately expelling invaders from sovereign territory. Alaska became America's Pacific shield. Without Seward's purchase, Japan might have controlled northern approaches completely. Geography shapes warfare's outcomes decisively. Strategic vision proved prophetic. Military engineers constructed Alaska Highway in 8 frantic months. Unprecedented engineering marvel, connecting Alaska to continental America. Thousands of troops stationed at bases defended against potential Soviet invasion across Bering Strait. Alaska transformed from neglected territory into crucial defensive position. Strategic value finally obvious. Cold War made Alaska invaluable. Early warning radar stations dotted frozen landscape, monitoring Soviet airspace continuously. Nuclear bombers staged from Alaskan bases, maintaining deterrent capability. Every missile defense system required Alaskan components. Seward's Pacific dominance vision materialized through unforeseen dynamics perfectly. Geography's importance persists eternally. 1968 brought Prudhoe Bay discovery, North America's largest oil field, 9 billion barrels beneath Arctic tundra. Trans-Alaska Pipeline transported millions of barrels daily southward eventually. Oil revenues funded state government completely. $7 million seemed laughably inadequate compensation now. Modern Alaska generates billions annually oil, natural gas, fishing, tourism, mining. State pays residents annual dividends from resource wealth. Unique among American states. Economy produces more monthly than original purchase price. Seward's investment yielded returns exceeding wildest 19th century projections imaginable. Environmental value emerged unexpectedly. Alaska contains America's largest national parks, Denali, Glacier Bay, Katmai preserving pristine wilderness. Scientists study climate change through glaciers. Conservation value transcends monetary calculations entirely. Natural heritage matters beyond economic measurements. Beauty becomes national treasure worth protecting fiercely. Indigenous peoples gained citizenship in 1924 finally. Alaska Native Claims Settlement Act, 1971, 44 million acres, nearly $1 billion compensation. Recognition came late, inadequately addressing historical injustices. Treaties signed without consent haunt national consciousness. Progress requires acknowledging past wrongs. January 3, 1959. Alaska achieved statehood. 49th Star joined America's flag. Population remained sparse, but strategically crucial. Nuclear submarines patrolled Arctic waters from Alaskan ports. Statehood formalized Seward's vision. Permanent American presence across Northern Pacific region completely secured. Today's reality proves Seward prophetic. Arctic ice melts, opening northern shipping routes. Russia, China, America compete for Arctic dominance. Climate change transforms frozen wastelands into contested maritime passages. Alaska sits at nexus. 21st century power struggles validate 19th century territorial acquisitions unexpectedly. China's Belt and Road Initiative includes Arctic ambitions aggressively. Russia militarizes Arctic territories heavily. America relies on Alaskan bases projecting power northward. Without Alaska, America would lack Arctic presence entirely. Seward couldn't foresee climate change, but understood geography's permanent strategic value. Rare earth minerals beneath Alaskan soil, lithium, cobalt, elements essential for batteries, smartphones, defense systems await extraction. China currently dominates rare earth production globally. Alaska's mineral wealth could shift technological independence dramatically. Resources defined 21st century power as petroleum defined 20th. Critics who mocked me never imagined jet aircraft, intercontinental missiles, satellite surveillance. They thought farmland, settlement potential narrowly. I thought ports, resources, territorial control, strategically. My vision encompassed possibilities beyond era's technological constraints. Imagination matters more than contemporary consensus always. Imagine Alaska remaining Russian during World War II, Soviet bases threatening American Pacific coast, Japanese occupation uncontested. Cold War dynamics transformed completely. Pearl Harbor might seem minor compared to attacks from northern approaches. Alternate histories illuminate decisions' profound consequences terrifyingly. Or imagine Britain seizing Alaska during Crimean War continuation. Canadian territory stretching to Bering Strait. British control over Pacific northern routes. American expansion blocked permanently westward and northward. National security compromised irreversibly. Seward prevented these scenarios through decisive action. Calculate precisely. $7,200,000 divided by 591,000 square miles equals roughly 2 cents per acre. Manhattan Island cost $24, $16.26, 40 times more. Louisiana Purchase costs 3 cents. Alaska remains history's greatest bargain. Yet focusing solely on acreage misses strategic calculations essence. Seward bought Pacific Ocean access, Arctic presence, territorial security, priceless advantages. Geography determines destiny more than square mileage alone. Strategic positions matter beyond measurements. Visionaries calculate differently than accountants fundamentally. Personal cost haunted me terribly. Assassination attempt during Lincoln's murder left me scarred, disfigured permanently. Physical pain constant. Political attacks over Alaska deepened psychological wounds. My wife died believing me disgraced. Success came posthumously, too late for satisfaction. Great achievements demand terrible prices. Baron Stoeckl retired wealthy but unhappy. He believed negotiating poorly, surrendering Alaska too cheaply. Russian historians criticized the sale bitterly later. Imperial collapse might have been prevented through Alaskan resource wealth. Hindsight torments decision-makers eternally. Both sides eventually regretted terms. Alaska's indigenous peoples navigate cultural preservation amid modernization continuously. Traditional subsistence lifestyles clash with resource extraction economies violent. Climate change threatens ancestral lands catastrophically. Sovereignty questions persist unresolved. Purchase's human cost extends beyond 19th century power politics into contemporary social justice struggles. Russian descendants maintain Orthodox churches, cultural traditions, linguistic heritage throughout Alaska. Sitka's cathedral still serves congregations faithfully. Russian names mark geographical features everywhere. History layers complicate simple narratives of national transitions. Populations experience territorial changes personally, while empires negotiate abstractly. Tourism drives significant economic activity now. Cruise ships bring millions annually witnessing glaciers, wildlife, wilderness. Visitors spend billions experiencing landscapes once ridiculed worthless. Beauty generates revenue exceeding mineral wealth sometimes. Economic value takes unexpected forms beyond extractive industries. Nature becomes capital. Climate scientists study Alaska intensely. Permafrost melting releases methane, accelerating warming dangerously. Glacial retreat provides climate history clues. Arctic ecosystems indicate global environmental changes earliest. Alaska serves as planetary early warning system. Scientific value transcends economic calculations. Knowledge matters beyond immediate profit. Military significance persists unchanged. Space Force tracks satellites from Alaskan installations. Missile defense systems require northern positioning. Arctic warfare training occurs year-round. Cyber warfare operations monitor Russian and Chinese activities constantly. Modern defense technology depends on 19th century territorial acquisitions. Geography's importance constant. Energy independence debates center on Alaskan reserves. Environmental protection versus resource extraction conflicts persist bitterly. Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. Drilling proposals divide Americans sharply. Seward's purchase created permanent policy dilemmas, balancing development against conservation. Difficult choices accompany territorial control inevitably. Alaska symbolizes American expansion's ambitions and contradictions completely. Manifest Destiny's northern expression, indigenous displacement, environmental exploitation, strategic foresight, economic opportunity, national security. All themes intersect in Seward's controversial purchase. History rarely offers simple narratives. Complexity defines events. Contemporary Alaska faces unique challenges. Harsh climate limits infrastructure development severely. Small population struggles maintaining services across vast distances. Federal subsidies sustain economic viability. Oil revenue dependence creates vulnerability. Climate change threatens coastal communities existentially. Governing Alaska remains extraordinarily difficult. Yet Alaskans maintain fierce independence and pride stubbornly. Frontier mentality survives modern context. Self-reliance combines with federal dependence paradoxically. Cultural identity blends indigenous heritage, Russian history, American nationalism. Alaska represents complexity beyond simplistic patriotic narratives. Regional identity transcends national categories. International law questions persist regarding Arctic sovereignty. Canada disputes maritime boundaries. Russia claims extended continental shelf rights. Climate change enables territorial claims previously impossible. Alaska positions America advantageously in coming decades' disputes. Seward's purchase continues generating geopolitical benefits unforeseen. Educational curriculum increasingly emphasizes indigenous perspectives on Alaska's history. Colonial narratives face critical re-examination. Whose history gets told matters profoundly. Tlingit, Aleut, Athabaskan, Yupik voices demand recognition. Historical truth requires including marginalized perspectives. Justice demands acknowledging conquest's costs. Alaska Airlines connects isolated communities across vast distances. Aviation transformed territorial accessibility fundamentally. Bush pilots become cultural heroes. Geography that isolated now connects through technology. Transportation infrastructure determines development possibilities. Modern Alaska exists because flight conquered distance. Technology reshapes constraints. Artists capture Alaska's majesty through diverse media. Photography, painting, literature celebrate wilderness beauty. Cultural production generates tourist interest significantly. Aesthetic value complements economic and strategic importance. Alaska inspires imagination beyond material calculation. Beauty matters existentially. Human spirit responds profoundly. Alaska's future remains uncertain amid climate change. Permafrost collapse threatens infrastructure catastrophically. Coastal erosion forces village relocations. Traditional hunting grounds disappear as ice melts. Economic opportunities emerge as shipping routes open. Environmental catastrophe and development proceed simultaneously. Complexity defies simple optimism. My statue stands in Juneau, facing northward. Bronze eyes gaze toward horizons I envisioned but never witnessed personally. Tourists photograph casually, unaware of controversy once sparked. Memory fades. Achievements endure. History judges results more than contemporary opinion. Legacy transcends reception. Critics' names forgotten now. Who remembers Representative Washburn or hostile editorial writers? Time erases opposition while preserving achievements. I endure. Detractors vanish. History's verdict favors bold action over cautious criticism. Risk-taking determines progress. Safety guarantees irrelevance. Courage matters ultimately. $7,200,000 in 1867 equals roughly $130 million inflation, adjusted today. Alaska's economy generates $50 billion annually currently. Return on investment exceeds 400 times purchase price. Even purely financial analysis vindicates Seward completely. Economics align. Yet reducing Alaska to profit margins misses deeper meaning. National identity expands through territorial acquisition. Geographic scope shapes cultural imagination. Alaska represents American ambition, possibility, wilderness preservation simultaneously. Material wealth matters less than psychological significance. Nations define themselves symbolically. Alternate uses for $7,200,000 haunt counterfactual imagination. Reconstruction aid for freed slaves, Southern infrastructure investment, educational programs. Critics argued these needs outweighed frozen wasteland and acquisition. Opportunity costs accompany every decision. Resources allocated one way preclude alternatives. I believed American destiny included Pacific dominance. Alaska served broader strategic vision connecting Atlantic and Pacific oceans. Continental thinking limited most politicians. I thought oceanically. Vision distinguishes leaders from followers fundamentally. Geography shapes, but doesn't determine possibilities. Imagination matters more. Russian regret deepened throughout 20th century. Soviet planners wished desperately for Alaskan resources and strategic position. Stalin supposedly called the sale Russia's greatest mistake. Hindsight offers clarity unavailable to contemporary decision-makers. History judges harshly without acknowledging constraints faced. Indigenous peoples' perspective complicates celebratory narratives. They didn't sell land, occupying powers exchanged it without consent. Treaties signed without input determined futures arbitrarily. Alaska Native sovereignty movements seek recognition still. Historical justice demands acknowledging voices. Complete history includes uncomfortable truths. Modern Alaska embodies American contradictions perfectly. Individualism and federal dependence. Environmental protection and resource extraction. Indigenous rights and settler colonialism. Military significance and peaceful beauty. Progressive politics and conservative culture. Complexity defies characterization. Regional identity reflects national tensions. Climate change makes Alaska increasingly vulnerable and valuable simultaneously. Melting ice opens resources while destroying ecosystems. Economic opportunity accompanies environmental catastrophe. This paradox defines contemporary Alaska. Future generations will judge how we balanced competing interests. Legacy depends on choices. My vision extended beyond lifetime intentionally. Building nations requires thinking generationally. Short-term political costs mattered less than long-term. Strategic positioning. Leadership demands temporal perspective. Immediate popularity versus lasting achievement. I chose legacy over applause. History vindicated priorities. Stand at Alaska's edge today, watching sun set over Pacific waters. I glimpsed this view mentally signing treaties by candlelight. Vision requires seeing beyond present circumstances toward distant possibilities. $7 million bought more than territory. It purchased strategic imagination's validation. History remembers Seward's Folly as visionary triumph now. Yet every great achievement begins as ridiculed idea. Mockery accompanies innovation inevitably. Critics outnumber visionaries always. But changing world maps requires ignoring consensus, enduring scorn, trusting vindication. Alaska stands monument to courage. Sometimes fools prove wisest.